Hey everyone, welcome back to the channel. Eric here from All Things Art, and welcome back to another episode of What's New, where each month we take a look at new STL files that were released. So each month, different Patreon groups will release different models in the form of an STL file, which is basically just a file extension that we can take and print at home on our 3D printers. So each month these groups will put out new characters, and we have a lot of cool models this month. We have everything from Star Wars to DC to Marvel to Masters of the Universe, G.I. Joe. So there's a lot to look at this month. It's been a while since I've done one of these episodes, so I apologize. Been just really busy with work and painting off onto the side. But yeah, basically this month is going to be not just June, but also maybe a little mixture of April or even May. Kind of cherry picked the best that I saw, and kind of want to just get caught up on everything. So yeah, we got a lot to look at this month. Like I said, a lot of really cool models. So let's head on over to the computer screen and see what is new. All right, so getting to our first model of the month. This is going to be a Star Wars model. This is actually by Star Wars 3D. They're kind of like a sister group in conjunction with B3D Zerk and Wicked. They kind of like all team up together. So really cool model. This is Padme or Padme. Sorry, I don't know how to pronounce every single Star Wars character name, but you get the idea. She's basically the Queen of Naboo. So really cool model. I believe this was the character that maybe Natalie Portman played, if I'm not mistaken. Actually, kind of looks like her. But let's move forward. Off to the side, you're going to see 1/6 scale. And like I say in every single video, don't pay attention to the scale because every model that I'm about to show today can be printed in any size. If you need something printed in 1/4 scale, 1/3 scale, it can be done. So let's zoom into her real quick. I don't want to get too close on this one because the photo is a little bit blurry, but really nice model. I really love the design, the sculpt. There's a lot going on, really intricate details, really nicely done. You got the buildings on the bottom, really nice base, again, with that ornate design. Let's fast forward, see if we can get some up-close photos that are a little bit clearer, but basically here's your side profile. So it doesn't look like she takes up too much room, and this is actually probably one of my favorite models of the month. I think this was really well done. So this one looks like it's a little bit better quality. So let's zoom into this. So again, really amazing details. When it comes to details, B3D Zerk, Wicked, Star Wars, those types of, those guys, those sculptors from those groups put out some of the best work that I've seen. So as you can see, the details are absolutely fantastic. If you look at her headdress, even down to the skin tones and all that ornate design in the background. Really incredible, super impressive. So let's look down at her dress here, or somewhat of her coat. Really nice, got that fur detail going around on the hands. So let's fast forward. So if you didn't want the model with all of that stuff in the background, you can print it with just her, so the focus is more on the character. I kind of like both. What I like about this, I think this would look really cool in a larger scale. I could see this being done in like maybe like 1/3 scale or even 1/2 scale. I think this would make a really cool 1/2 scale model. But yeah, what I like about this is the focus is more on the character. So let me just zoom out and show you the difference. So you had the option between this and then scrolling back. As you can see, all that stuff going on in the background and the buildings. I think both are really nice. So it's going to be hard to choose which one to print, but they're both really fantastic. So going back forward, this might be more space friendly if you're going for a larger scale, like I said, like 1/3, but really beautiful. I really love the way this was sculpted, and I really like the way she looks. And again, like I said, when it comes to this group, the details are absolutely fantastic. If you take a look at all of the textures in her coat, with the fur, even down to the hands, everything going on with all those little intricate details. Let's see if we have an up-close look at her face. Oh, here's an up-close look at her hands. So you got everything down to the skin pores. They do a really great job at capturing, skin texture. So it looks really fantastic. Don't want to spend too much time because we have a lot to look at today. Here's the grayscale renders. In my last video, you know, this was somewhat new, introduced to where we see these kind of like tannish clay renders, and I always like the grayscale renders versus the colored renders because you can kind of see the model better. You can see the sculpt better. For example, if I want to look at the skin textures, I could see it better. And then I think you know, I'm assuming most of these sculptors are using ZBrush. I think ZBrush got an update to where they started showing the model like this with, you know, it looks a little bit more like clay or like, you know, like a flesh tone color. And it's gotten better. So I think this looks really great. I'm actually more of a fan now of the models when we look at them with this color versus the grayscale, but still nice. They give you the option with, if you want to look at it, you know, with the tannish color, or they even include the grayscale color. And if you want to see more pictures, head on over to the groups because, like I said, when it comes to like Wicked or, you know, Star Wars 3D, they upload hundreds of photos, so you can see this model from every single angle, up close, every single little feature that you're going to see. So really great job on the skin textures on the face. I think the sculpt in general, the model looks very beautiful, and again, that headdress, tons of textures, and the sculpt is absolutely incredible. That's all I can pretty much say about this, is it's truly incredible. And you're going to probably hear me say the word incredible a lot through this video because Wicked put out some wicked looking models this month. All right, so let's move forward. Who was this by? Oh, this was by Zez. So some stuff going on with the Zez Studios. Zez Studios had, I think, some issues. They made it, you know, public, so I'm sure it's okay for me to say this. Zez Studios had a little bit of an issue, you know, with their current partner who was sculpting their models. So they kind of split ways, and now Zez Studios is now just Zez Studio, no S on the N. So a lot of their old models are not available. If you were a Patreon member, you most likely already had access to them, and hopefully you downloaded them. But yeah, a lot of their old models aren't available anymore, I believe. And moving forward, they're going to be just now Zez Studio, no more studios. So if you were following them on Patreon, go, you know, switch over to the new link, which would be Zez Studio. And you can see it up top here. It says Zez, a new era. So this is going to be Lady Thor, better known as Jane Foster. Really cool model. Obviously Marvel. I really like the flow of this piece. You know, the way her hand's kind of flying out, and then you have the other hand back with Mjolnir with the lightning strikes coming off of it. So let me zoom into this a little bit better. I think she looks beautiful. Really nice job with the head sculpt. And again, Zez is another great group to follow. So if you want to check out more models, head on over to Zez. But yeah, just look at the flow of the hair and just the way they did the pose. Nice textures in the cape. You have the details in the hammer with all of the writing. The textures in, you know, that her pants and I don't know what you would call that, like a sash. Yeah, I guess it's kind of considered like a sash waving off to the side there. So really nice details. Again, another great group that does fantastic work when it comes to sculpting. Here she is from the side profile. So let's zoom into this a little bit so you can kind of get an idea of how much space she's going to take up. And again, this is probably another one of my favorite models for the month. I think it looks really great. And again, really nice details all throughout the actual sculpt. So let's move forward. I'm sure I have a few more. Here she is from behind. So really nice job with the actual cape. And I love the way the hair is flowing, especially, like I said, with the hammer and the lightning coming off of it. So really great job to Zez Studio. Here's her portrait. So let's zoom into this a little bit more. So as you can see, really beautiful sculpt, really beautiful model, really nicely done. All right, so let's just scroll through these. They're all pretty much the same. And again, here's a a full view of the entire figure. Got some arrows hitting the base. Looks like she's on some type of shards. I don't know if that's supposed to be like ice shards or what the case may be. I don't think I have the colored renders to this. But moving forward, I think some of these are duplicates. Moving forward, this was, I believe, by SuperShark. And yeah, this was by SuperShark. This is going to be Absolute Superman. So if you're not familiar with the comics, there's a new series out called Absolute. They're doing like Absolute Batman, Absolute Superman. I think maybe they did like Wonder Woman. Basically, like all the DC stuff is getting this Absolute title, to where the characters pretty much don't look like themselves anymore. They have like new suits, new designs. Like for example, Batman's like this huge, bulky, kind of like creepy looking character, which is pretty cool. Like they kind of pretty much redesigned all of the characters, and it's called Absolute. So this is going to be Absolute Superman, and again by SuperShark. So really cool model. You got Superman, and I think he's tearing apart the bat signal, if I remember correctly. All right, that one's not opening. All right, here's the grayscale renders. So he's got some cables in his hand. Let me zoom into this real quick. So here's your grayscale model renders. The hair looks really great. Love the way they did the hair. The musculature looks really great. The way the muscles were done. So yeah, here's the back of this base. So this is going to be Superman. I don't know if he's trying to plug in the bat signal or tearing apart the bat signal. I have not read the comic yet, so I don't know. But basically, this is the bat signal. And if you're not familiar with the comics, you're probably not going to recognize it. This large square symbol in the middle is actually Batman's new, bat symbol that he wears on his chest. So, and actually, I believe in the comics it turns into an axe. So it's pretty kind of cool. It sounds ridiculous, but everybody I know that read the comic really likes it. So I'm excited to give it a whirl. But basically, like I said, Batman, or I should say Superman, is something going on with the bat signal. I don't know if he's a good guy or a bad guy in this. I'm assuming he's tearing apart the bat signal. So that was SuperShark. SuperShark has other models they're working on this month. So again, I didn't download everything. So if you want to check out to see what else they're doing, head on over to SuperShark on their Patreon group. Just head on over to Patreon, type in SuperShark or any other groups I mentioned today, and you'll be able to find it. But yeah, I just wanted to keep things moving quickly today. So moving forward, this is going to be by a group called Polymind. They're working on a lot of like different Batman stuff as well. This one is Catwoman. I believe this was taken off of a comic book cover. It looks very familiar. So let me just zoom into this real quick and get a better look at what's going on here. At first, the face was kind of throwing me off. I didn't know if I truly loved the face. I don't know if it's because of the way her eyes are closed, but it's kind of growing on me a little bit more. I do have a few nitpicks on this one, but overall, I think it was well done, and I'll get to my little nitpick in a second here. So again, Catwoman, I mean, overall looks pretty cool. Let me just zoom back out. And again, we have another bat signal piece. She's sitting on top of the bat signal. So, all right, so here's one of the things. And again, when you go to print this and you have it painted, you might not have the bat signal lit up, but being on the model, the colored render here, we have this, bat signal that's lit up, but then off to the side we have like some wires that were cut. So that's kind of throwing me off for a loop here. Well, you also do have the main wire, so maybe that's lighting up the bat signal. I'm not sure what the other wires off to the side here doing. And then you have Batman throwing batarangs at the actual bat signal. So I don't know. I don't truly love everything. I don't really love that there's, batarangs being thrown at the bat signal. I'm not sure why the wires were cut like that. I don't know. Maybe he was trying to throw off the lights before he, I don't know. Sometimes Catwoman's a good person. Sometimes she's a bad person. So you never know what's going on. I'm assuming here she's bad because she has the jewelry and she just robbed something. So maybe he was trying to stop her, threw a few batarangs at her, and so forth. You have this cat off to the side here holding some type of jewelry that looks humongous in his mouth. But yeah, basically what I don't like about this piece is the way she's sitting on the bat signal. So if I'm looking at this realistically, which it's not, it's, you know, it's art, it's up for, you know, creative interpretation, but realistically, if she was sitting on this bat signal like that with that type of slope, I feel like she would just slide right off of it. Yes, she's very athletic and can maneuver, but it doesn't look like she's holding herself up. It looks like she's more relaxed and chilling on the bat signal. And for that reason, I don't like the angle, the slope of the bat signal that it's on. I feel like she wouldn't be sitting that comfortable on that type of angle, if that makes sense. If she was jumping across the bat signal and sliding across it, that would make more sense, but she's just chilling there with the bag of jewelry. The bag of jewelry is kind of like up in the air again, kind of looks like it's defying gravity, so I don't like the way that the bag is up in the air like that. Kind of looks a little off to me. However, if you don't like that, because of what I just mentioned, you do have a switch out for that bag to where she has the whip, and it makes more sense. All right, so with the whip, it makes a little bit more sense. And again, if she was like sliding across the bat signal, that would make more sense to me too. But just the way she's resting on it, I don't feel like it would be holding up her body the way it is. Small little nitpick, but overall, I think it's a really cool model. It's a fun model. You know, I don't know, she has a sexy look to her. There's something about the face. It kind of, at least with the colored renders, she has more of like a darker skin tone. Kind of reminds me more of like the movie. So it is what it is. I think overall it's really nice. From behind, again, she's very relaxed on that bat signal. From behind, it looks really good. I wish I had the grayscale. I don't think I have the grayscale. The actual sculpt of the actual bat signal, I think looks really good. I'm not sure what that red writing is on the bottom. It looks like it says the something. But yeah, I like the sculpt of the actual bat signal. And overall, I think it's a really fun looking piece. Oh, I do have the grayscale renders. All right, so let's go into this a little bit. So yeah, you can see her eyes are really squinted. So, yeah. I don't know if they should be that squinted for her expression. I think they would have opened up her eyes just a little bit. Would have given her a little bit more of a better expression. But, yeah, just the slope of that bat signal kind of threw me off. And there she is again. So, again, this is Polymind Studio, available on Patreon. They do some amazing work. Just, you know, every once in a while I have my own little nitpick. But, you know, this is art. What I don't like, you might like, and vice versa. What you might like, I might not like. So that's why we have different models to choose from. Overall, though, I think it's a really cool, fun-looking piece. Speaking of Polymind Studio, this one, when they teased this, I was super excited for this. So obviously, we have Mr. Freeze with Nora. And what made me really excited about this was Prime One Studios. If you follow the licensed group like Sideshow Collectibles, Prime One Studio, Prime One Studio just teased this similar concept. It's Mr. Freeze with Nora, except Mr. Freeze is looking off to the side and Nora is in this, you know, giant glass dome that's frozen. It looks more of like a offset, you know, diorama, that the Prime One, you know, piece. To where this looks a little bit more, I like that they're both looking forward. My issue with the Prime One piece is they were looking at each other, and I don't know, there's something about it that I didn't truly love. It was based off of Sean Murphy's artwork, and I love the artwork, but I don't feel like it translated well to statue form. Also, they went really highly intricate. Not this piece on the screen. I'm talking about Prime One Studios now. They went really intricate with Mr. Freeze. He almost looks like a robot, to where on here, what Polymind did, it's more simple. This reminds me more of Mr. Freeze, the more traditional suit. You know, it's just a cold suit. It's not some huge, you know, robotic thing that looks like the Transformers. Because the way that Prime One did their sculpt, to me, it looks like a Transformer, which I don't like. But that might grow on me over time once I see it in person. But yeah, I really like this better because of what I said. I like that they're both looking forward. and the attention is on, you know, the two of them. And the way they did Nora is really interesting. They did Nora. If you look at it, you could call it, she kind of got like that polygon look. You know, it's not like smooth skin. You know, I'm assuming that's supposed to look like like she's frozen. So really great idea doing that, making it look like her actual body is like, you know, kind of like ice. And it was, you know, like I said, like it was, you know, frosted. So I like that they did that. Obviously, with 3D printing, the reason you're not seeing Mr. Freeze's face is you're going to have to print this with clear resin. And I just did a video not too long ago, maybe last month, on how to get super crystal clear results on clear resin, specifically Mr. Freeze's dome. I did the same exact project, except it was just Mr. Freeze's portrait. And beautiful results. You can see right through it. So if you're, you know, if you ever need to print out a glass dome or anything in clear resin, go check out my video on how to print and restore clear resin so you get a glass-like finish. Because you don't want this to look all cloudy and hazy to where you can't see his face. Anyway, let's move forward. I really like the way this was colored on the colored renders. If I were to paint this, I like that, you know, again, she has this polygon look, and that's for a reason. She's made to look like she's frozen. So I would do the same thing, you know, keep her, you know, looking frosted like that, like her skin is, you know, frozen. Same thing. I like the, maybe Mr. Freeze is a little bit too bluish, or I say too greenish. It's kind of like more of like a turquoise. I might go a little bit more of like the lighter blues, but you know, you could work out whatever, you know, colors you want with your painter. Here's a better look at her. Regarding Mr. Freeze's face, that's the only thing I maybe don't like. It's okay. I don't love the sculpt of his face. I think I've seen it a little bit better, but overall, I really love the concept of this with the two of them together. And you have the option. If you don't want her there, you can print just Mr. Freeze, and then as you can see, he's holding a smaller version of her, you know, in his hand with the glass dome. So if you don't want her on the base, you don't have to print her on the base. So it's cool that they give you options for that. Again, Polymind Studio, they're working on some DC stuff. This is going to be Robin. I'm not sure if this is supposed to be Jason Todd because we have like this Joker base. So let me take a look at the base real quick. So you have this Joker stoned base, which I really love. I think it looks super creepy. I really love the sculpt on Joker's face. That looks fantastic. They should do like a full statue with that sculpt of his face. That looks awesome. But yeah, this looks way more impressive to me. I think this is one of the better pieces they did this month. Really love the sculpt and design of the pants. It's got a little bit more of like a, you know, a modern look to it. Really nice with the belt, and the same thing with the suit. You know, he's got that kind of like cocky, you know, attitude look to his face. He also comes out with a switch out portrait to where he's smiling. Again, I have one little nitpick with this on this month. The skin textures on his arms look a little funny to me. They look more like dimples, and I'll take a better look in the next photo. So let's zoom. Well, actually, let's move forward. All right, so from far away, he looks great. Once you start taking an upper close look, not so much the face, but yeah, even maybe the face. There's something going on with the skin texture to where it kind of like reminds me of like a basketball where you have like those dimples everywhere. It doesn't look like skin texture. It just looks like craters or dimples everywhere, kind of like what you would see like on the moon or something. So I don't know if this is done yet or if they could retweak this, but I think if they just updated the textures on the skin, it would be such a big improvement on this, because overall I think the sculpt is really great. You know, it's that traditional, you know, Captain Morgan pose to where he's standing on the Joker's head, but I kind of like that. I kind of like that. It's almost like a nod back to like, okay, you killed me in the comics, but you know what? Now, like, I'm just, you know, standing on top of your head. It's kind of like, you know, whether he's, you know, he won in this situation or he's back, and he's just showing Joker like, you know, look at me, I'm back. And I like it has like a bad attitude about it, and it's just I don't love those skin tones. Here, look at it from this arm, so you could see. And again, it's not because I'm zoomed in. You know, we'll look at other models to where you can see the skin textures are done differently. It's just way too random. There's just way too many dimples all over the place. This needs to be more of like a sporadic skin texture versus it looking just like holes everywhere. But overall, I think it's a really cool model. Check out this Joker face sculpt. I really love that. That face sculpt is absolutely fantastic for the Joker. That I do love. I do love the model overall. I just don't like the skin textures. And here's the grayscale render. So, once again, it is what it is. But, yeah, if, guys, again, I'm, friends with all these guys in the groups. So, I don't mean to, like, criticize it in a negative way. I'm just trying to give some constructive feedback for the next one. Definitely work on the skin tones and smooth those out a little bit and make them look a little bit more like, texturized. Yeah, let's zoom in one more time. So the face, I feel like the face isn't as bad. It's mostly on those arms. Those arms are just way too many random dimples everywhere. For my liking. I don't know. Let me know in the video. Am I being too harsh on this? I don't know. Let me know down below in the comments what you think. Do you think these skin textures are overdone? I want to hear other people's feedback. Again, this is just my opinion. It doesn't mean it's right. Just my opinion. So here's, you have an alternate head switch out to where he's smiling. I don't love this one so much. Not the sculpt. I just don't like, I like it more of like where he's kind of has that like cocky attitude because he's being that he's standing on top of the Joker. I don't know if the smiling works as much. I mean, I guess it could work. He's kind of like laughing, like, hey, look at me, Joker, Anyway, moving forward, also Polymind. This is just a little bit of a teaser. We have the date June 15th, which is coming up very soon. They're going to be working on Penguin. I'm really excited for this one because this is Jason Fabok, comic book artist, one of my favorite artists. And so, yeah, this is a little bit of teaser. So, stay subscribed and stay tuned for next month's episode of What's New, and we will feature this one. So I'm really excited for that. We have the Penguin. Also, Polymind is working on, I mean, that's a Fabok Batman in the background. I don't know if the one to the right is so much Fabok's work. I don't think it is. Maybe it could be. I don't know. But yeah, I'm excited to see this too. This looks like a really cool looking Batman. If it's going to be based off of the one on the right, the one on the left, that design is a comic book cover by Fabok. But the one to the right, I'm not sure where that artwork is taken from. But if it's going to be that pose, I'm really excited about that. I think that looks really great. So excited for that. Again, hit that subscribe button and stay tuned for next month. All right, so that was Polymind Studio. Up next, we're going to be taking a look at Wicked. And again, like I said, Wicked puts out, like their name implies, some wicked-looking models. They're, I think, in my opinion, some of the best there is when it comes to the Patreon groups. Wicked, B3D Zerk, as well as Star Wars. And listen, they at times have their faults as well. Sometimes I don't always love their models, but they're very, I think, overall consistent with their models. The same way I didn't like the skin textures just now on Polymind. If you go back a few months, there was a month, I forget what model it was. I think it was Rocky, to where I didn't like the skin textures on Rocky. They did the same thing. It was just, it wasn't so much that the skin looked porous. It was just way overdone. It was the texture was too deep looking. But, that's why, you guys, you can join the groups. You can give constructive feedback. This way they can improve the models. If there's something you don't like, you say it in a nice way, and hopefully they can improve it. If they agree, and everybody's bringing up the same point, like, yeah, maybe something's a little bit off on that one, they might retweak it. So it's always great to voice your opinion, but don't do it like in a negative way. Don't go just trashing somebody's artwork. That's not cool. But anyway, perfect timing because the movie came out not too long ago. We have Captain America, Brave New World, and we have, I usually call him Rolk, but it's the Red Hulk. And we have Harrison Ford here. So let me move forward. This is just a colored render, but really cool, holding the American flag. Got the Captain America shield on the base. Also, this is just what they're working on this month. We'll get back to the renders. They're working on Captain Marvel. And again, this is one of my favorite models for the month. Definitely one of my top 3s. as well as, I believe this was Pyro. Or was this? Yeah, I think this was Pyro. So let's go through the files. So here is Hulk, Red Hulk. You know, the model that we just saw that was colored in. This looks absolutely fantastic. Again, going back to the skin texture, the texture on this model is absolutely insane. This one looks like the face is more of like Harrison Ford. You do have the logo on the bottom that says Captain America, Brave New World, some flowers, and the shield on the bottom. 1 second, I need a sip of my drink. Okay, so let's get to it, because this was a really great model this month. All right, so if you didn't like the Harrison Ford face sculpt, you have the more traditional comic book, you know, General Ross look. And I don't know if they're, I'm assuming it's a switch out. I didn't really get to see the model to see if there's any kind of like neck seam line, but from the front, you can't notice anything. But just keep that in mind. He does come with a switch out. Or maybe they give you the option to print the whole model with the head already attached. I don't know if the head is separate or not. But yeah, absolutely fantastic. The face sculpt is absolutely incredible. The whole entire model is absolutely incredible. This looks like a nice quality photo. So let's zoom in on this one. So again, the face looks incredible. I love the way they did the muscles. It's not overdone. When it comes to Hulk, I don't like when they just do muscle upon muscle upon muscle and it looks unnatural. This looks crazy big, but at the same time, it still looks like the human anatomy. Really nice, good, really great job, I should say, on the textures of the pants. It's got tons of veins coming out everywhere throughout his body. Great. I mean, look at the foot. Even the foot is like nicely sculpted. They really pay attention to every single detail. They even put you know, lines in the toenails. This is why when you paint it up, it'll look even better. So again, when it comes to like Wicked, B3D Zerk, they really pay attention and put details everywhere. So really cool looking piece. Here he is from behind. So let's check out that anatomy again. Really great. Oh, we actually can see the back of the head. I don't see a seam line. So I don't know if they give you the option to switch the heads out or if you have to print the entire upper torso with the head attached. I don't know. I don't have the breakdown of the parts. The way the flag was designed, really smart. That'll make it a lot easier to paint. And I actually like the way the fabric is kind of like flowing like that with the ripples in the fabric. The way it's kind of like pinched everywhere. It almost doesn't look like fabric. It kind of reminds me of like not like a plastic, like kind of like almost like it had a little bit of a cushion to it, which is fine. I think it works like that, and it'll make it a lot easier to paint because painting stripes is absolutely tedious to do, which I don't like doing. All right, so let's move forward. Oh, here's a great shot of the skin textures here. So, as you can see, the big difference between just putting dimples everywhere and then having skin texture that's not so perfect. I mean, your skin is supposed to look different everywhere. Your skin isn't supposed to be symmetrical going throughout, you know, everywhere throughout your body. So we're highly zoomed in. The texture does look a little bit deep, but keep in mind this has to be hit with primer, few coats of paint. A lot of that texture is going to get covered up a little bit. So when it comes to sculpting, I think it's smart to make the texture a little bit deeper than it's supposed to be for the final look. This way it gives some room for us guys who like, you know, who paint these models when we go to paint it and we put down the primer. And like I said, multiple coats of paint, you don't lose all of the texture. So I like that they added a little bit of a, you know, a deeper texture to it. So really great job. Let's go forward. Here's a look at that base. Looking really sharp, crisp looking letters with the Captain America. The shield looks absolutely fantastic. Really nice weathering. Like even the flowers, if you look at the flowers, like I said, they really take their time and sculpt everything beautifully. Even the petals on the flowers have those lines running through them to give them some texture. Really beautiful. So really great job, the guys over at, on the Wicked team. And I really love the way they did the battle damage on the shield. Again, here he is from behind. So again, really beautiful sculpt with the musculature. Really love the way that fabric looks on the flag. Here's a look at the foot one more time. Kind of see all the texture and the veins throughout the body, the toes. Really nice job. Beautifully done. Here's a grayscale render. This one's going to be like Harrison Ford's face. So again, truly incredible. Really love it. Absolutely fantastic. Here's the Hulk or Red Hulk look. More comic book accurate. Looks absolutely fantastic. I love both portraits, so both look great. All right, so here's the really cool thing about this model. Here's Harrison Ford, General Ross from the movie. You have the option to print him as well. You can print him as a standalone piece. Very simple museum pose, saluting, similar base. But let's move forward. I'm going to show you what they do. They give you the option to put him on the actual base of the Hulk. And I really like that idea. I think it looks really cool like that. I think I have a picture of it. Let me see. Yeah, here we go. So, and then the same thing, the same way, I'm going to go back real quick. The same way you have like the Harrison Ford portrait in his human form. You could also have like more of like a comic book accurate General Ross look to where he has like the mustache and everything right there. If you can kind of see that. So I really like this idea. It's a really cool looking dio. To have the two of them on the base together like that. And I really like the way the base looks in general. So I think that right there, that's like the money shot for me. I really like this. I like the more like comic book look with the on the Red Hulk as well as General Ross. That would be my favorite look right there. And just to give you an idea of how it looks off from the side, you got a lot of like, I think it's flames shooting off from the base with this like fire effect. So really cool looking there. And then, like I say, always when we're reviewing Wicked's models, when it comes to Wicked's sculpts, if you ever go over to their Patreon group, Wicked always gives you multiple options. They always give you options for a bust. Sometimes they'll do like a few different busts. Sometimes they're like, they always do different head sculpts. Oh, I just need another sip of my drink here. But like I was saying, yeah, they always give you an option for a bust. So if you don't want to print the full figure, or if you're just a bust collector and, it doesn't take up as much space. So really cool that they give you that option. So here's the bust. And again, you have the option on the bust to do Harrison Ford's face, or you could do, the Red Hulk's face with the mustache, the more comic book look there. All right, so let's move forward. I think we spent enough time on the Hulk here. All right, so this was the other model that they were working on. This is Captain Marvel. And yeah, again, I really love the flow of this piece, and the textures, again, are absolutely fantastic. So I'll quickly go through this one because it's going to be pretty much similar when I talk about the sculpt and everything. Let's start off with the base. The base looks absolutely fantastic. I like that it's a nice tall base. I like the way that she's flowing off of the base, holding her power effects. The power effects in her hands look absolutely incredible. Let's zoom in a little bit. Everything done on this piece is truly incredible. Let me find a better photo. But here she is from behind. So again, beautiful looking sculpt. I'm not going to take too much time on her. She does have the switch out portrait if you wanted that masked portrait with the kind of like that flaming looking hair. Looks absolutely incredible. This might be the best Captain Marvel statue I've ever seen. I used to own the Sideshow Collectibles Captain Marvel. I always used to have her with this portrait. This was the exclusive portrait on that statue, and I definitely like this one better. I think it overall looks. I mean, I can't see anything I don't like about it, and when that happens, I just think the model looks perfect. The way the hair is sculpted, they do like this really fine detail in the hair. It's not too thick looking to where it starts to look like spaghetti. I think the hair strands are nice, like, very thin looking, nicely finely detailed. Again, when it comes to Wicked, you're going to have these crazy looking textures. So tons of textures going on everywhere between the, the plates on her shoulders and the actual design of the suit, and that kind of like, not so much of a honeycomb pattern. I don't know what you call it. I guess like a carbon, kind of like a carbon texture there. Some leather down below there on her waist. So you got a lot going on. Here's that energy ball, you know, that power effect. Really nicely sculpted. So again, definitely highly recommend checking out Wicked and becoming a member of their Patreon group. Here's a look at that base. You have a helmet on the bottom there. Not sure whose helmet that's supposed to be. I don't know if that's like a... No, what's his face? Nova, maybe? Or not sure who that is. If you know whose helmet that is, let me know down below in the comments. Let me zoom in. Some type of... Oh, maybe it's like... It definitely looks like some type of jet pilot mask on the front of the face. I'm not sure who it's from, though. I want to say it's like a Nova pilot or something, but I could be wrong. But, yeah, you can see, like, even like the weathering on the helmet, like everything, they put a lot of time into their sculpts. On the star there, really incredible. The cables and everything, absolutely insane. Let's take a look at that head sculpt. Wow, wow. Yeah, she looks beautiful. Really beautiful. Love the lips, the way they did the lips, the eyes. Really beautiful. Take a look at her chest, as well as all the textures. So absolutely fantastic. And then, yeah, here was the overall look at her. So you have that switch out portrait, and man, that would be tough because the other unmasked portrait's really beautiful, but the masked portrait is also cool at the same time. So you got different options for this one. And then, like I said, you have different options for the bust. So here's a look at the bust. I'm not going to spend any time on this. So we have, switching back and forth, you have the two options for the head sculpts, like I've been saying the whole entire time. Same thing on the figures. You have different options. Here's the Captain Marvel bust. I don't know if I like that she's kind of leaning off to the side, just because I hate when it looks like a statue's leaning. I get why they did it. That's kind of how she was on the full figure. But I think for the bust, they probably should have maybe straightened her out a little bit. But I don't know. Slight nitpick on that one. All right. This one is going to be by a group called Statix 3D. Again, another friend of the group. So always excited to see what they put out. This is going to be Batman Who Laughs. And again, if you follow licensed statues, you're going to be like, well, what the heck is this? This is the Sideshow Collectibles Batman Who Laughs, which it kind of is. But at the same time, Sideshow Collectibles took the design of their statue from the artwork of Gabriel Dell'Otto. So this pose is taken from a comic book cover by Dell'Otto, and that's what Sideshow Collectibles used, and now that's what Statix is using. Does it look like the Sideshow Collectible statue? Yes. Is it the Sideshow Collectible statue and they stole it? No. And here's why. If we look at the actual sculpt, I used to own this from Sideshow Collectibles. The entire sculpt is absolutely different. The face is sculpted differently. The teeth, the whole entire statue is absolutely different when it comes to the sculpt. But yes, they use the same pose. So same pose, different sculpt, so it's going to look very similar unless you start getting up close and looking at everything. Even like the belt buckles in the suit, it's all different. So I'm glad they didn't just steal the whole entire concept. But yeah, obviously you have the chains wrapped around his arm there. Let's get to a different photo. And also the base is completely different. So now one thing on Gabriel Dell'Otto's artwork, you didn't see the base. You could barely even see his legs, I believe, if I remember correctly. So the base does have like those, drip marks, or I should say it's more of like the bat cave with, what do we call, the word's slipping my mind, but basically, the spikes coming off of the bat cave. What the hell are those things called? I'm sure it'll come to me later, but that looks a little bit similar what they did with the base concept, that he's inside of the bat cave, but the base in general is completely different. When it comes to, because I'm going to compare this to Sideshow Collectibles the entire time, most likely, because it reminds me of that. Which base do I like better? I probably like the Sideshow Collectibles base better. But I think this one's kind of cool. It's interesting. I don't know. It's hard to say. At the same time, I don't know what the heck is going on with the base. Let's go forward. Let me look at it a little bit more. It's literally the same exact pose as the Sideshow Collectibles, which again is from Delato. Let me see if I have just the base by itself here. Like even looking at the weapon in his hand, that's sculpted differently. So it's a different sculpt, but it's very, very similar. I'm going to scroll through this really, really quick. All right, here's the base. So you have this bat, creepy looking bat as the base. And again, maybe it's in the description of the model, so head on over to Statix. If you're watching this after, let me know what it says. I'll say that I might have to go back. I didn't do all my research. There's a lot of models to look at each month, so I don't always read the full description. I don't know if they mention what the base actually is. But let me go back again. So yeah, going back, let me see. Let me zoom into this base. So... all right. And again, let me know down below in the comments. So obviously the platform is from the Batcave. Oh, Stagmite. I knew it would come back to me. the things coming off of the floor, Stagmites, that's what's, those, what you see inside of a cave, the spikes. It's called the Stagmite, I believe. So you have this platform, and then you have like this pipe, or it almost looks like what would raise. You ever see like the Batmobile sometimes comes up from the ground? It kind of reminds me of that, like a piston, like some type of hydraulic piston raising the platform up. I don't know if that's what it's supposed to be. I'm trying to figure out what it is. Because you have this cylindrical object underneath the platform. Something shooting off to the side, like some type of anchor that's anchoring this bat to the base. And then if we move over to the image on the left here, you have these objects down here that look like something that conducts electricity. I don't know what it is. I wish I knew, because I'm so curious right now. But anyway, with chains, again, I'm sure it's like artistic interpretation. They probably took a few things and turned it into one, but I'm not sure what's going on with the bottom of the base. I get the idea of the platform that he's standing on. I just don't know what's going on below it, or even how far down it goes. I guess that it stops right there, because it looks like it keeps going. So I'm not really sure. So let me know down below in the comments. If you know what this base actually is, let me know. So I get the idea with the Batcave, the metal platform. But the best I can think of, like I said, is maybe it's like a hydraulic to where it raises the platform up and down. I think that's what it might be. But yeah, overall, enough. I'm sorry I spent so much time on the base, but it was throwing me off. But let's get back to the figure. So again, I don't have super clear images of this, but the textures look absolutely fantastic. The model itself looks absolutely fantastic. Is this better than the Sideshow Collectibles? It's close. I don't know. It's tough to say. I think they both look great. What the great thing about this is the Sideshow Collectibles is quarter scale. This is a 3D print. You can print this in 1/3 scale if you wanted. A lot of collectors are 1/3 scale collectors, or 1/6. If you collect 1/6 scale, you want something smaller. You could now take that statue. If you didn't have the chance to buy the Sideshow Collectible statue, we now have the option to shrink it or make it larger. So imagine this thing in 3rd scale. It will look insane. Anyway, let's move forward. The sculpt is absolutely fantastic. Great job over, the guys over at Statix. Absolutely love this. Looks fantastic. And there's another look at that base. All right. Again, by Statix, they're teasing what's coming for June. They're working on some Mortal Kombat. You have Sub-Zero, Scorpion. I forget that dude's name. Who's that? The Reptilian. They're also working on some Star Wars stuff. Who we have back there? Oh, sorry. I blanked out for a second. I'm still thinking about the Batcave. Darth Maul in the back there, as well as Ahsoka. All right, it's been a long day. I apologize. Sometimes I forget everybody's name. Darth Maul, Ahsoka, Scorpion, Sub-Zero, Reptilian, or Reptile. Oh, I'm a freaking idiot. It says it right in front of me. Reptile, Ahsoka. That's when you know it's been a long day, when you're trying to remember the name of the characters, and it's in huge text right in front of you. Reptile and Ahsoka. Anyway. That's what's coming next month. So stay tuned to the channel. Again, I apologize. I had a little bit of a brain fog for a second there. But and Darth Maul in the back. Actually, I have a look at Ahsoka and I have a look at Darth Maul, and they are absolutely fantastic. Like I said, these are really great models this month. So let me move forward. Enough time me trying to figure out their names. Looking at Ahsoka, I love that this is a museum pose. I think this is the best Ahsoka statue that I've seen. So here she is, you know, side by side, so you get a look at, you know, both angles of her. Let me zoom in a little bit, and then we'll take some up-close shots of her. So really super small footprint for the base. And again, when it says 1/6 or 1/10 off on the side there, that just means it's pre-supported. You can print this in any size. You just got to add your own supports. So imagine this thing in like 3rd scale. It would look absolutely insane. Or even 1/4 scale. So here she is. Let's zoom in on this. So really nice looking model. I think I have some better looking photos. Let's zoom in on that face. So really great job. I really like the way this looks. I like the textures that they added. All right, here we go. This looks like a better quality photo. So really great textures going throughout her costume. You got that kind of like that armored plating. So great job with that. Here's a look at her face. The actual colored renders are throwing me off a little. Not so much colored, I should say, like, you know, they call these clay renders. The skin looks a little weird. It almost looks like porous, but I think it's just a render, so I don't think that's going to be an issue. I think once you print it, it'll be fine. But it does look kind of weird when you kind of zoom in on it. But I think that's just the renders. I don't think that's anything to worry about. Kind of like, it reminds me of like sand or something like that. But yeah, even her face. I think it's just like I said, I think it's just a render in the way it's kind of like blowing up when I'm zooming into it. But yeah, I think she looks really pretty. I like the way everything was sculpted. Yeah, you can see she has like a lot of. It's like this really fine little detail of texture on her face. But like I mentioned earlier, once you prime it and add paint, you kind of lose all that. So I think it'll be fine. Let's zoom in a little bit more. Yeah, that's fine. Yeah, I can see it. Okay. Yeah, I think you know what it is. I think it's just the color of the render that's throwing me off. Especially sometimes when you zoom in on things, it also kind of like distorts it and makes things look funny. But yeah, I think she looks really beautiful. I really like this model a lot, and also the Darth Maul. Here's a look at the Darth Maul. He complements her. He's also on a similar base, if not the same base. And again, a museum pose, which basically means he's standing upright. Very simple. So you got a museum pose on both of them, and I can see these two side by side. I think it would make a great pairing. And yeah, I really love this one a lot too. I don't know if I have any more photos of him now. So it's just a one, but like I said, very simple to Ahsoka. He's you know, standing upright with the museum pose. So imagine him. Let's go back to Ahsoka. Him next to Ahsoka, I think would look really, really cool. And again, head on over to the groups because there might be more characters. They're probably working on more Star Wars stuff as well as other franchises. I don't always grab images from everything. But looks absolutely fantastic. I would love to see this like in 1/3 scale. I think it would look cool. Like a nice big giant model, about 30 inches tall. Look incredible. All right, moving forward. I think this was a different group. Oh yeah, this is going into Wicked again, or this might have been out of order. Oh, was this? I don't know. Well, anyway, I don't know if this was out of order, but anyway, this is going to be Spawn. I believe this was, what do they call this? I had it before. Medieval Spawn. I remember Todd McFarlane. There was a statue by Todd McFarlane back in the day. Kind of looked like this actually. That I always wanted, but it was hard to get and it was always expensive. But yeah, it's basically called Medieval Spawn, I believe. I think that's what it's called. And this looks absolutely fantastic. Again, like I said, when it comes to Wicked, they do some crazy Wicked looking sculpts. All right, so here he is. You get different options for the face sculpt. You could switch it out. So let's zoom in a little bit. So absolutely killer looking pose. I love the pose. He looks vicious, angry. All the creatures on the base look absolutely insane. Look at this dude off in the back here. That looks absolutely insane. And then you have the Spawn logo on the bottom, different skulls and, you know, that spawn chain with the spikes wrapping around it. All right, if you didn't like that head sculpt, you have the option for this head sculpt. Again, looks absolutely fantastic. There's a lot going on with the skin and the way the skin is like kind of alternating in different sections. Like under his arm here looks a lot different than like, you know, his chest. So really cool. And I really like the fact that they did it and just didn't make everything look all the same. The veins just shooting out through his arms are huge. Looks, you know, this is a really cool looking model. All right, let's move forward. So here he is again with that head sculpt. So you have different options for the head sculpt, the texture. Look at the texture in the hair. You have this fine little thin hair strands. So, you know, they did that kind of like noodle design, but then they went back and kind of like added even finer strands. That was really smart into each one. So really smart doing that. I like the way that was sculpted. Here it is from behind. Look at those creatures. Man, the skin on them looks absolutely intense and insane as well. Really creepy looking. I can imagine this all painted up. It's going to look incredible. You got that shield, which looks great. Here's a black and white render of that other head sculpt. So I'm not going to spend too much time on that, but here's a look at that. All right, also by Wicked. You know, it's saying Wicked, but it's B3D Zerk. So Wicked does Marvel, and then, like I said, their partner group, B3D Zerk, usually does DC. So if you're looking for DC models, head on over to B3D Zerk. If you're looking for Marvel models, head on over to Wicked, and then obviously Star Wars is going to be over on Star Wars. But yeah, anyway, it says Wicked on the bottom, but it's actually B3D Zerk. So if you're looking for, you know, DC stuff or any of the models that are about to come up, this is on B3D Zerk. But anyway, this is going to be Murder Machine. It's basically a version of Cyborg. So this is from the Justice League Metal series, to where Batman is each version of the Justice League member. So in this case, he's like kind of like a bad version of Cyborg. It's kind of like, what if Batman took over that character? Like, what if he took over Green Lantern? What if he took over Wonder Woman, and so on? So it's like the mindset of Batman, but inside of the Justice League characters. So we have Batman as Cyborg, and again, this looks absolutely crazy. He's holding Cyborg's head. So let's move forward. Here's the model, full figure. I'm not sure who the dudes are on the bottom. Kind of looks like Alfred. I don't know if that's Alfred. Let me zoom into this. You have a few of them. I read some of the Metal series. I didn't read them all, but basically he's on a tank. Again, I don't know if that's supposed to be Alfred. It kind of looks like Alfred. Again, let me know down below in the comments if you know who this is. But the tank looks really cool. I love the pixel design. They do that a lot with this character. The actual sculpt on his suit looks absolutely incredible. Again, Wicked and, you know, B3D Zerk does an amazing job when it comes to sculpting. Here he is from behind. So the actual mechanical suit looks absolutely fantastic. Love the way that's sculpted. All right, here's a better looking photo. So let's zoom into this one. So the actual portrait on Batman's face, I really love the sculpt of that. I think that was really nicely done. And again, look at all the intricate details you have with that robotic outfit there. Let me just scroll down to give you guys a look. So really nicely sculpted. And then off to the side here, he's holding Cyborg's head. He kind of did like a Mortal Kombat, to where he ripped Cyborg's head out of his body. And it's just, yeah, it's just the head and the spine. Here's another look at that suit. So really crazy, intricate details on this one. And again, a lot of great models this month. Again, with Wicked, they always put up a lot of photos. So head on over to the group. You can look through like hundreds of photos of this model if you want. Here's a look at Cyborg's face. We've been talking a lot about skin texture. I feel like I've been talking a lot about skin texture this video. I feel like this is one of the better models I've seen with the textures. So really great job with the skin textures, breaking it up, making it look different in different areas. Like the textures on the nose don't look the same as the textures on the cheeks, and so forth. It's not supposed to be the same everywhere. But the actual sculpt on his portrait looks insane. Let's zoom back out real quick. So really great job sculpting Cyborg's head there. Moving forward, this one is going to be Dawnbreaker. Again, this is another version of like what if Batman took over one of the characters. So this is going to be Batman as Green Lantern. So really cool looking piece. Again, if you follow the licensed groups, Prime One Studios did a version of this character, which came out nice, but that one was a little bit more of a museum pose where this one's more of like dynamic. He's lunging forward. So I actually like this one a lot more. And again, you can print these in any scale. You can print this in quarter scale, you can print this in 1/3 scale, and so forth. So let's move forward and take a look at this guy. So again, I really love the flow. I like the tall looking base. You actually have like a sub base. It's like a base on top of a base. So you have this base that starts off on the bottom with the Green Lantern logo, and then sandwiched in between you have like these skull creatures. And then again, on top of that base, you have another creature. Looks like there's a hand reaching out and all these tentacles. Some type of creature off to the side here with his mouth open. Kind of looks like that thing from Beetlejuice. But yeah, the textures look absolutely crazy on this. And another great sculpt by the Wicked team, or I should say B3D Zerk. So that looks really great. I like the expression on his face. Here's another angle. So that base is really cool by itself. I'm just going to zoom in on the base real quick. So there's a nice look at the base. A lot going on with that. And then you have Dawnbreaker kind of shooting forward, lunging forward. If you look at the chest, you have Batman's logo. And then on top of that is Green Lantern. Here's another look at that portrait. So really cool. You got nice leather textures in the cowl. The mouth, you got that kind of gnarl look on his face. I like the honeycomb pattern on the suit. That looks really cool. I like the way that the Green Lantern logo on the chest is kind of lifting forward. So you kind of have like layers upon layers. So that looks really nice right there. Here it is. Better look. So you can see really cool looking textures when it comes to their models. Same thing with the design of the suit on his back. The way those cables are wrapping around his body. It's kind of like layered on top. I really like the way they did that. Kind of gives it a little bit more depth to the statue. So again, really nice job. Again, with the stitches going through the cowl. So lots of details on this model. So again, really great job by the Wicked B3D Zerk team here. And like I said, you always have the option for a bust. So if you didn't want to print the full figure, you have the bust off to the right here, which also looks absolutely fantastic. All right, moving forward, I think we jumped, I don't know if we jumped forward, or I think the other one was Sanix. I always confuse Sanix with Statix, because it's almost the same word. Yeah, so before we were doing Sanix, this is now a group called Statix. So don't confuse the two. It's two different groups. This is going to be Statix, S-T-A-T-I-X, over on Patreon, and that's actually their link right up above. If you ever want to go visit them, patreon.com/Statix STL. They're working on a lot of G.I. Joe stuff right now. So we have Storm Shadow off to the right there, looking great. I love the design with the wolf on the bottom. So they're doing a lot of G.I. Joe stuff right now. I think I have most of the models. So this is Storm Shadow. So let's just zoom in on him real quick. I think I only have colored renders for these guys. And they're not really the best quality photos, so we're going to go through them quick. But yeah, if you're into the G.I. Joe franchise, definitely go check out Statix. Because let me show you what they're working on. Here's one. You have Storm Shadow. There's a look at him from behind. You also have Firefly. I don't love this one as much, but still cool looking piece. Again, it's just these are the colored renders. I wish I had you know, the clay renders so we can get a better look. But again, head on over to their page. Here's Firefly from behind. So he's got this big plume of smoke coming off of the back. He's got some stuff going on in his backpack, different grenades and bombs that are about to detonate. So that looks pretty cool. This guy was Zartan. not too familiar with this one. I had to write down his name. I have no idea who this is. But he's basically sitting on, I don't know, some type of machinery. It reminds me of like a snowplow or something. So different models to choose from, all different characters. It is like a snowplow. Or not snowplow, a ski mobile, I should say. Yeah, some type of ski mobile. I'm assuming that's what it is. So he looks pretty cool. Again, I'm not too familiar with these characters. Here he is from another angle. Kind of want to see how much space he takes up. This one I am very familiar with because it's obviously Cobra Commander, very well known. This one I was really excited to see because I think it turned out really nice. So you have Cobra Commander sitting on his throne. So there's a look at the entire piece. It's going to be, I don't know if I would say it's going to be too tall because he's in a sitting pose, but I could definitely see this printed at like quarter scale. I think would be a good size. And obviously, you know, you have the steps on the bottom there. Iconic image of Cobra Commander. You have different options for switch outs for his portrait. With, you know, the traditional, it's where you can kind of see through it. And then the other one with the mirrored portrait. So pretty, you know, basic design. You know, it speaks for itself. It's Cobra Commander sitting on a snake throne here. Cobra throne. So here he is. Let me do an up-close look on this one. So overall, it looks really nicely sculpted. You got nice leather details in the glove. Looks like there's very minor details in the actual suit. And again, that's why I say sometimes it's better to sculpt these with the details a little bit deeper. This way, by the time you prime it and add paint, all this isn't going to get covered up, which I feel like it probably would on this model. It looks like the textures aren't that deep on this model because you can barely see them. The gloves, not so much. The gloves, I could definitely see the leather texture, but the suit, not so much. And again, it could just be the renders. But yeah, to the sculptors, you know, always consider, you know, the guys that have to paint it and prime it, you know, a few layers go on top, you still have to lose some of the textures. All right, so moving forward, here's that mirrored, you know, helmet portrait. And here's a look off from the side so you can see how deep the model is. It doesn't look like it takes up too much room. So you kind of have the stairs at an angle. It looks like the back is pretty much flat with the cape, him sitting down, and then the giant cobra head. So really cool looking. Here it is. So here's how much space it would take up. I think it looks really great. This might look really cool in any scale, honestly. I think I could see this being in 6 scale or, you know, 4th or 3rd scale. I think it would look really cool. But yeah, that's him from the side. And that's how the chair is going to look from the back, basically just a reptilian skin. All right, so that was Cobra Commander. Also, Statix is working on one more G.I. Joe character, and there might be more in the future, so stay tuned. This one is Destro. Not too, I mean, he kind of looks familiar. I mean, it's been a while since I've paid attention to like G.I. Joe and everything. That was like more like when I was a kid, but definitely looks familiar. And again, it looks like a cool looking model. Again, I don't want to spend too much time on it. This way we can keep the video flowing. But with Destro, he's kind of made, I think, to be like a proximity piece to where you have him off to the side. If you had to print him by himself, let's go back. Do I have him? Let's see. So they're showing him next to Cobra Commander as like a proximity piece, and I think that works because you have like that torch with the, you know, the flame coming out of it. So I don't know. You can either print him as a standalone piece or a proximity. I think it kind of looks better with Cobra Commander, but you have options. Here he is by himself. So you can see like the stairs are kind of cut off. This way you could kind of slide it up to Cobra Commander. But yeah, I think he looks pretty good by himself too. Obviously carrying the briefcase there. All right, so let's move forward. And there's a little bit of a side angle. So again, like the way the depth is, I think it, like I said, it would probably look best next to Cobra Commander because he kind of, you know, sticks out a lot between his arm going forward and then the depth of the actual base. I think a lot of the focus on the character gets lost. So I don't really see this too much as more as like a standalone piece. This more looks like a proximity piece next to Cobra Commander, just in my opinion. Here was another one. So this one is actually by a different group. They just so happen to be working on G.I. Joe as well. If you see the logo on the bottom, this is by Nacho CG. I feature them every so often And they're not just, again, these groups work on all different franchises. It's not just G.I. Joe. So again, check out Nacho CG, because they're not just working on G.I. Joe, they're working on other stuff as well. But I just wanted to throw this in there. As you know, just to show you, if you want more G.I. Joe models, they just so happen to be doing some G.I. Joe stuff as well. So you have another model here. And then they're also working on a Laura Craft. Did I write these guys down? Storm Shadow. No, Storm Shadow was the white one. No, I didn't write down. But basically, yeah, they're working on, as you can see, different franchises. You have Laura Croft, also by Nacho CG. Here's a look at the G.I. Joe character from the side. So it looks pretty cool running forward. Really great job capturing the pose. You know, it looks very believable, like he's running forward. So that was really nicely done. That would actually make a really good looking Flash statue, because the movement looks like he's like actually running. And then we have this aerial shot of Laura Croft up from above. So cool looking models. If you're interested in this and more, go check out Nacho CG on Patreon. They're also, I don't know if I wrote this down. They're working on some Masters of the Universe as well. I think, yeah, I did write this one down. This is Ram Man. Again, not too familiar. I'm familiar with, you know, He-Man and Masters of the Universe, but just not all of the character names. This guy's called Ram Man. Kind of reminiscent of like Juggernaut a little bit with that lunging forward, you know, big guy pose. Yeah, I think it looks pretty cool. And again, you can go check out Nacho if you want to see more photos of these. I don't want to spend too much time because I don't know too much about them. But overall, in terms of the sculpt, I think everything was nicely sculpted. The textures look good. I don't have the best photos, so I don't want to judge it too up close, you know, too critically without seeing better photos. So we're going to move forward. And here's the grayscale render. If I had to go just by the photos, it looks very simplistic, but I think it works more for like an animated character, which it would be if they're basing this off of like, you know, like the animated series, like the, you know, the cartoon characters. Like the skin looks very simple. The textures, everything looks pretty much simplistic. So I think it works in that capacity if that's what they were going for. Again, another character, you have Tigra, also from, this one was from, Tigra's from, I think, yeah, Thundercats. So let me see something real quick. Was this Thundercats too? Or was this? I'm losing track of my characters here. I forget who I don't know if I said Masters of the Universe or Thundercats for this one. I'm not sure who this guy's. I think he might be from Thundercats because we had Tigra. Tigra, I know. Tigra is definitely from Thundercats. And I can obviously see the Thundercats logo here. But yeah, I believe they were working on some Thundercats stuff. And there was another character that they just teased that they're coming up with, again, also in the Thundercats universe. So definitely go check that out. Again, I don't have the greatest photos for these, but just to give you an idea of what they're working on, you know, go check out their page and you can see for yourself. But from what I can see on this, I like the texture, like the skin, the way they did the skin on the hand. It looks really cool. The hair looks really great. Overall, looks great for a colored render. So now we're getting towards the end here. This is Judge Dredd. Who was this by? Did I write this one down? Judge Dredd was by a group called Panerello. I don't always feature Panerello. I kind of stick to more of like DC, Marvel, Star Wars. Kind of like, I don't really go too far off. I don't usually always cover like He-Man and G.I. Joe and stuff like that. But I try to get in as much as possible. So I wanted to throw this in. This is going to be by Panerello Studios. Again, over on Patreon. And this is going to be their Judge Dredd. I believe this just went up recently, so if you're interested in this, you can go check it out. So, cool looking model. I did write down some info on this one, I think. Yeah, this model is inspired, at least this is what they had in the description. They're doing a pre-order for this, which I didn't quite understand. I didn't take too much time to look into it, but they're offering this as a pre-order to where it's limited to a certain number of pieces. I think it was way below 100. It comes with a certificate of authenticity, and it was saying it also comes signed by Jock. Now, Jock is a comic book artist. I don't know if it looks like, I remember this, it looks pretty familiar, and it does look like Jock's work. So I don't know how they would get him to sign something like this, but check out the page because I'm pretty much certain that's what it said, that this is going to be not something that you can print yourself, but it's a pre-order. So you can go to the page, pre-order it. It'll be very limited. And like I said, it's going to come with different perks. Like it could come, you know, signed. I don't know, the statue signed, or maybe just the certificate is going to come signed. We'll see. But yeah, if you want more info, head on over to Panerello and go check out their page. So let me see. I have a few images of this. So here he is off from the side. So pretty simplistic. But in general, Panerello always does some great work. And there he is. Side profile. So, you know, it's got some nice little like battle damage textures to the suit and to the helmet there. Face, skin textures look pretty good. And yeah, I think that was the last photo. So yeah, it's Rogue One. Yeah, that's what it was based off of. So this is based off of the cover to 2000 AD, as it says on the bottom there. Let me zoom in. So Rogue One, 2000 AD, Rebellion, Judge Dredd. So that's what this artwork is based off of. But yeah, if you are interested in this model or any model that you've seen today, head on over to patreon.com and then just search for the group's name, whether it be Wicked or, you know, SuperShark and so forth. Also, I'm always looking for new artists to feature each month. So if you're a sculptor and you have a, you know, Patreon group or some work that you would like to feature, feel free to reach out to me. Also, my 3D printing services are open. If you are not a 3D printing person yourself and you need something 3D printed, I can 3D print any of these models in any scale, anything from 1/6 scale all the way up to 1/3 scale. So feel free to reach out to me. And yeah, definitely go check out the Patreon groups. If you're not a member of Patreon, you can find them on Instagram, Facebook. Same thing for me. Check out my Instagram as well as Facebook and stay up to date on what's coming. But yeah, we do these every month, the What's New, where I feature new models and showcase what came out. So definitely hit that subscribe button and stay tuned. I have a few videos coming up for painting and so forth, some how-to videos. So definitely stay tuned. Thanks for joining me today, and I'll see you in the next video. Take care.